Hi, my name's Shawn Shaler. That's my friend Chris
I'm
Ford,
Chris.
aka the.
That was way too loud.
That's my friend Chris Ford, aka the Objective Geek of YouTube and Twitter fame. And this is Avatar: The Last Podcasters. I momentarily blinked out. I was like, "What are we? Why are we here? What are we doing on planet Earth?" This is Avatar: The Last Podcasters, and I don't know about big picture Earth, but I know that today, specifically, we are going to rank we're going to rank every episode in The Legend of Korra just using our ratings that we've already done. We're not doing it off the cuff. All of them. We've got 50. There's 52, but 2 of them are two-parters we ranked together. That's a lot of stuff, so we're going to cut it in half. We're going to do 25 today, the bottom 25, and then next week we'll do the top 25. And I'm very excited about it. But before we get started, just Chris, as always, how you doing? How was your week?
My week was perfectly fine as it could have been, I guess. Well, no, I mean I was a little sick, just a little sick here and there. But went to the office twice this week. I like going to the office. That's not a big deal. Other than that, I just been binging Naruto Shippuden lately.
Would you have to go to the office this week for something specific, or?
For training.
Yeah.
Some
I only
leadership
asked
training.
because I had to go to the office 4 days this week, and I made the mistake of complaining to my wife, who never really didn't go in the office. I was like, "Man, I gotta go in the office 4 days this week," and she looked at me like she was gonna stab me, and I thought, "Good point. I'm fine."
She can't observe those dead bodies over
I offered to put a
telecommuting.
cooler in the garage or something, not with the food, like a separate cooler, but I don't know. I tried to accommodate.
Yeah.
I tried, but yeah. Chris.
Someone was wondering, what the heck does this want?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, she murders people. She was inspired by the Dahmer documentary and
But
that sort of
very,
thing.
no, I think very Dexter Morgan style. She's seen Dexter.
Yeah. Oh, that's fair. No, she is a funeral director, and she actually doesn't even deal with a lot of the. It feels wrong to call it medical stuff because it's kind of post medical stuff. It's aftercare.
Yeah.
But no, she doesn't deal with a whole lot of that. She mostly is on the planning side. But yeah, no, my wife's not a murderer. She's very nice. I think she's probably one of the least likely murderous humans I've ever met. I look at a lot of people, I'm like, you could probably kill somebody. That person probably kill somebody. I could probably kill somebody. I look at Heather, I'm like, no, she's probably fine.
Interesting. I never thought about rating people on a scale of more likely to, not likely to kill, but more likely to kill to less likely to kill.
Having the capacity to do it, not physically, but emotionally,
Yeah.
And I feel like
I
she's.
think we've had this conversation before that my capacity to kill increased greatly after I had kids. A light switch went off. Like, I remember having my daughter and thinking to myself, if someone hurt her, I could kill them. And that thought kind of frightened me because I never had that thought in my head before.
It just jumped you out of the
Not
blue.
saying that I would, but the thought crossed my head.
It's that's the cartoon little devil on your shoulder, little angel on this shoulder, little devil on that side. You didn't have a devil until you had your daughter, and then he's like, kill people,
And
Not
then
as,
to loop it back to Naruto, is that love is really so strong that when it's threatened, you have more of the propensity to hate.
that's fair, right? Just opposite and equal reaction to love. Some opposite and equal amount of hatred on the other side capacity. I don't know. That makes it sound like Heather isn't capable of love. That's also not. Sorry, Heather, if you can hear me through the walls out there. Chris, murdering people aside, I heard you had some news today.
Yes, a little bit of Avatar news, but it's still really big. The first, movie from Avatar Studios has an official release date. Not oh, it was rumored to be out this time. It's straight from Paramount to Variety, which is a legit news source. And that is that the first film, as it will be about Avatar Aang and his friends, that's just vague, will be out. Give me one second. Give me one second. The Last Airbender will be out October 10th, 20. Do you know what year that I might say, Shawn?
23.
No, that's probably way too soon.
It's the only October 10th that I care about right now, though.
It is October 10th, 2025.
Ouch,
So a
man.
lot. Yeah,
What's the point of
ouch. Yeah,
announcing
that
something
did.
that far out? What is that even for?
I know. It's like 3 years from now. Okay, that does seem very long. Like I know
Don't
animation
don't
takes
don't
forever,
tell me
but
that. Right?
that still seems like too long. I would have expected 2024. Like end of 2024, I thought would be like legit good. Like they've been working on it. That gives another 18 months or so to do it. That seems long enough, but
I mean, what if the world don't even exist in 2025? That's a long ways away. The
it's a
t-
long ways away.
the 2000s will be legally allowed to rent a car by that time. That's outrageous.
The interesting thing, though, that is like serendipitous, is that that will be like the exact 20-year anniversary of Avatar coming out. Came out in October of 2005.
That's kind of cute. I'm not gonna say it makes me
So,
any happier,
oh,
but it's cute.
yeah, yeah.
Give me the damn movie faster.
It's
Now,
just
you know what? Don't tease me with this news, Avatar Studios. Don't tease me.
I think
I'm
by
sure.
that time, the second season of the Netflix series will probably be out in that same year.
Okay, that's reasonable.
If I had to
Maybe.
guess.
I'm not gonna become a gambling man to wager on things that Netflix does. Personally, that feels dangerous. But
If season two will happen, I think it will happen by that point.
like, if it's gonna happen at all, it'll roll right off the assembly line, essentially, right
Yeah.
after. That's fair. Um. Hey, well, listen. I'm glad to have finite news. Like, this is one of those cases where news is better than no news, or bad news. Chris,
Yeah.
we've got a lot of ground to cover. You want to jump into some?
We do. Holy crap. Let's jump into it.
Do you want to? So this one's a little. We're gonna start a little different. So first, we're gonna start numbers 46 through 50. So we're gonna kind of go bottom five, build up that tension for what's the worst episode, what's number 50, right?
Yeah.
Just so we can have a little bit of a climactic build up. But then we'll go 45 through 26 today. So 50 being the worst, relatively speaking. We're still talking about Korra here. Chris, let's do it. Episode.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry,
And
right?
then we will have, I don't know if we mentioned this, but we'll have a follow episode. You did mention it. Doing 25 through 1, the best episode. These are the worst.
No,
Which
Chris.
just means
Worst
they're the bottom half.
cliffhanger of all time. Ranking every episode of Korra, and then you only do half of it. We just don't do the other half ever. Worst cliffhanger ever. Chris, rank number 46 is book 4,
Number 40.
episode
Keep going.
7. It's called Reunion.
Ooh, reunion.
Listen,
Yeah.
this is still a good sign that we rated 7.06 cumulatively, which, you know, just thinking on a scale of other TV shows, like, that still feels like a watchable episode of a mediocre TV show, right?
And
That's what that tells me.
I think I was, if I remember correctly, I was way more positive on this than you. I think I found a lot of good stuff in it, especially like in retrospect. I think a lot of stuff to do with Korra. And of course, we love the stuff with um, the movers and stuff with Varric. That stuff was really fun. So yeah, I think I'm fine with the 7.6.
7.06. Yeah,
Sorry,
7.06.
7.06. My bad. It's very important.
Listen, 46, that's, you know, that's not the worst, right? So, 47, book 1, episode 5, Spirit of Competition. It's a big
So the
drop.
thing is, that is kind of a big drop. The interesting thing is that with Avatar: The Last Airbender, I could pretty much tell you like the name of the episodes like in order, eh, somewhat. Um, I at least remember all the names of the episodes. In Legend of Korra, I'm not as good because I haven't watched it as much. I've watched it a lot. I watched it like I don't know 7 or 8 times, but Avatar I've watched like 20 times. Just a matter of it came out first. And so when I see an episode title and I know exactly my opinion on it, that's an
It's
interesting because I don't like the Spirit of Competition episode. There
it's
was
either good or bad when you like remember it instantly. Like you have an association.
yeah. This one had like this was like the epitome. If if if, if the thing that people didn't like about Book One of Korra was the pro bending and the love triangle, this was like a huge combination of both of them.
That's
And
me. I don't like either of those things. Thankfully, it doesn't pervade too hard outside of this episode as far as book 1 is concerned. Not real bad. But yeah, that's
yeah,
me.
yeah, there was just some stuff there with Korra that I didn't like, and then I mean it's understandable. It's not badly written, but just it's not an ideal episode I care to go back and rewatch too often. I think
All
in book
things
one that's my least favorite.
all things in perspective, right? Bad episode, not a bad
Man, I'm
episode
really
of
curious what the other because usually reunion is like a lot of people's worst episodes. I'm curious what the rest are. Okay.
book 2 episode 2, The Southern Lights. I don't remember much
Oh,
about this episode, but they're getting 6.8. There's a very small drop off from the previous one if you're interested in differentials.
I have a really good memory of the Southern Lights. I feel like you were probably worse on this than I was.
Well, probably, I feel
Uh,
if I have one gut reaction is that I bet it's pretty
ooh, yeah.
exhibition-y.
Exposition.
Exposition-y. Yes, thank you.
Yes. Oh, okay. But I do remember the thing I loved about it was that in retrospect, I think this is one episode that I didn't like when I first watched it, but in retrospect, I appreciate it a lot more because Korra, I feel like you start understanding why Korra is the way she is. Like her father doesn't trust her or believe in her. Some of these people aren't believing in her, but the Ulak does. So I think that was a part that probably made me like it more than you, but between us two, it's still one of the worst, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, I can't remember a whole lot about it, but it's not surprising for me to see those early those early book 2 episodes down here. 49, book 2, episode 9, The Guide. Chris, tell me what you remember about this one, because I don't remember anything about it. 6.8.
So this is when Tenzin tries to guide Gokora into the spirit world. This episode that happened like right after beginnings, and then there's this whole B plot of Varric framing Mako.
Oh, I bet that hurt me a little bit.
Yeah,
Seeing Varric be a
it's one of those
bad.
episodes. It's one of those episodes that I feel like is an in between episode, and also like we just got off with beginnings, which was
Is it?
amazing. Um, and so yeah, so this one I think just kind of hurt a little bit.
I'm gonna invent a theory right now that we've probably talked about before, but I just can't think about it. But like, there's like an opposite of a filler episode where it's like a transitory episode, like it needs to occur even if nothing interesting happens in it. So it's like the opposite of a filler. Like it has to exist
Yeah.
just to move something along. Maybe this fell into that category. Sometimes that bothers me. Chris, any guesses at what number 50 is?
Ooh man, number 50. Something probably in book 2, maybe Night of 1,000 Stars. But you probably would have loved that. Um,
Would I, Chris?
and
Would I? That was a great
Night
guess.
of a Thousand.
That was a great guess, Chris. Nicely done.
Thank you.
Again, I don't remember a ton about. But I think what I remember about this is that it swung and missed at a few things that normally I would like, but it didn't it didn't connect on those things, on the comedy, the movers, that like, I don't know, it didn't.
Yeah, and I think looking back, the thing I hated about it is that Bolin just disregards Mako being in prison, Mako trying to figure out what's going on and what's wrong. Like he didn't. It just seemed like it betrayed the character of Mako. Not Mako. It betrayed the character of Bolin. And then I didn't really care for the whole mover thing within back. Like it was kind of cool, but
I just don't need a
I don't
whole
know. It just
episode of
wasn't.
the mover stuff. Like it, that's funny
Yeah,
as like flavor text for a character, but I don't know, didn't do it for me.
yeah. And then Bolin just seemed just so into himself that it just yeah, like I said, just betrayed the character. And Korra's not really in this episode all that much. I don't believe.
You know, Chris, I'm realizing now that what we probably should have done is put the bottom 5 at the end of the episode, as opposed to the beginning of the episode. That's okay. It's all right. Hey, let us know what you think the worst episode is down in the comments. We still have to continue the episode, so we're going to go to number 45. Now, Night of 1,000 Stars, I don't think you really have to even watch it.
You know what? Well,
I'm not saying avoid
it
it like the
wraps up.
plague. I don't think you have to.
No, I think it does wrap up the Varric storyline, and so you might have to watch it.
But it's
Because
a
if
part of the
not, you'll be kind of.
storyline for Varric that I don't care for personally, so, whatever.
And it's not like Varric being caught isn't really that indicative of what
You just need to
happens
know
the
that he
rest
gets
of.
caught, and you get that later on, so that's fine.
Yeah, you probably get it in the previously on in the next episode.
Chris, let's jump to 45 through 26. See what we got here. Book 2, episode 6, The Sting.
Man, there's a lot of book two up here. I'm not surprised.
I mean, it's cliche, but I stand by the opinion. The Sting is where Korra's dad gets caught, right? About to start some crap.
I think so. Yeah.
I don't remember having a whole lot of hard opinions, other than maybe like it was sort of drama filled and a little anticlimactic, is what I want to say, but that could be
Yeah,
misled.
the thing is mostly about Mako trying to find out who's trying to take out these businesses, and he ends up working with the triple triads, and then he ends up being, I believe, arrested by the end of it. Korra's not really in it, and that hurts the episode
That's usually
a
a
lot.
downer.
Yeah. And then Bolin again is more of that, like he's being oblivious, or he's kind of betraying the character by not
We're in
by
a
not
bad Bolin
looking
phase.
out for his brother. Yeah.
Maybe, that's probably a minor contributing factor of book 2 is you get bad Bolin and bad Varric. And I don't care for either of those things.
I'm kind of cool with the Varric because I wasn't sold on him having any type of like. He was funny. He was funny to me. That's what he needed to be.
I don't
There's so
love
many
season 2
scenes that-
Varric. Like, they did him too far one way in season 2. They did him too far the other way in season 4. But I'd rather have season 4 Varric, if given the choice. 44. Book 4. Finally, let's shake it up. A different book. Episode 3. The Coronation.
Ooh, Coronation.
7.2. What, 44? Chris, I do have our individual ratings up here. If I'm reading this right, you gave it a 7.3 and I gave it a 7.1. If I'm reading it right.
Okay. I'm not surprised by that. So we're pretty close here. A lot of this has to do with Kuvira. It's Prince Blue's coronation. I don't know. This might be also one of those episodes that it needs to happen, but not that much happens. Like Kuvira is pretty much like, "Hey, I'm gonna take over," and we as the audience knows she's going to try to take over. So it's really nothing new for us.
I don't know what the opposite of a filler episode is. We'll coin a term for it at some point, but I think that's probably a fair statement here. 43, Book 3, Episode 7. Is this our
Wait,
lowest Book 3 appearance?
interesting. There's something in book 3. It must be. You haven't said book 3 yet.
Original
Book 3,
Air. I
episode
think it's our
7?
first one. Original Airbenders.
Oh, yeah, original Airbenders.
It just
Yeah,
sounds like
I
one
get
of
why.
those off the top of my head that probably wasn't very exciting.
Yeah, this is one where all the Airbenders, Tenzin goes to train them up there in the whatever. I think they're in the Northern Air Temple or Eastern, whatever Air Temple. And he's being like, and the thing I hate about this episode is that Tenzin feels. I feel like he is not written that well. Like he starts like yelling at them all and stuff. I don't like any of that. I really love the Boomy stuff because Boomy like was getting even more fleshed out. Like when he says like, "I never wanted to be an airbender," like he's lying. Like you know he's lying, and that is really interesting character work there. But I didn't enjoy the Tenzin stuff as much.
Understandable. And it was time Book 3 made an appearance, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should. But 42, Book 2, Episode 1, Rebel Spirit, pardon me. There we go. At a 7.4.
Book 2, Episode 1. For some reason, I don't have like the clearest memory of this.
Which is weird. Maybe that
but
hurts
it's
it, right? To be the
episode 1.
first episode of a season, that's probably
Yeah,
not a
it's
great
like-
sign.
Yeah, there's a lot of table setting. Like it's it's just Korra. Like I feel like I don't know. Like yeah, it's just a lot of table setting. Like it's
And you're
fine.
coming off such a
Whatever.
great high of the end of Book 1. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I remember that much, but that being said, I get it. Get why it's here. Sorry, Book 2. Maybe you just you didn't give us the right impression out of the gates.
Or Book 2.
No, Book 2. Listen, it's all relative. Deserves what it got. 41 is Book 1, Episode 2, A Leaf in the Wind. And this one I do remember because the title is very telling of, like, what happens in the episode, or, like, a chunk of the plot.
Man, why is this one so low? I wonder. I mean, 7.45. I'm not. I guess maybe because not that much happened.
You rated
really,
it a
it's not probably that.
7.75. I gave it a 7.15.
I gave it a what?
You gave it a 7.75. I gave it a 7.15. So it's a little bigger than our average disparity, but not like crazy. Like we have greater disparities.
Interesting. Can you tell me what the average score must be? 8, if I had to guess.
Of the whole thing? Of everything?
Yeah.
Let's find out.
I need you to punch those numbers. Add them all up by hand.
8.42.
What's that?
8.42. Let's do a little math here. Let's find out what our average disparity is. How do you do absolute value in... Is it just absolute ABS? That's right. Okay. Of this... I just want to know what our normal disparity is. It's funny to start at the top. Also, average. Our average disparity is 0.36. So, somewhere in the 0.4. So, yeah, this one had pretty, 0.6 disparity. So, it was there. We did not agree.
Yeah. I like Legion to win. It's a nice little episode.
I mean, I remember it, and I don't remember hating it. I don't remember why I didn't like it or what hit me wrong about it, but something clearly did. Probably, is there pro bending in this one? I bet there's pro bending in this one.
This is when Korra learns about pro bending.
Yeah, that probably hurt.
And also, this is one where she does pro bend, because at the end of it, this is the episode where Tenzin, he bans her from going pro bending. She plays like she does the exercise in the obstacle course thing, and she keeps smacking her head. Like she doesn't know how to be the leaf in the wind. And then when she's pro bending in the match, she wins the match by being the leaf in the wind. She's just evading the people pro bending at her. So you're wrong, Shawn. Great episode.
Pro bending's gross, and I can't think of a single fictional sport.
We will be pro bending one day, Shawn.
I cannot think of a single fictional sport that I enjoy. I hate Quidditch. Quidditch is the worst.
I would can we somehow find, not this year's Comic Con, somehow find like an area to pro bid.
I mean, I don't know. I just play dodgeball. It's more fun and it's simpler.
We could probably take that room we were in. We could probably use it as long as we have stuff that's not like damaged.
I think that the Comic-Con people are not going to look fondly on us throwing things in their room. That's just me hazarding a guess, my friend.
And then also we would have to move all the chairs out the way.
Yes, we would.
And then someone would have to put them back. Yeah,
listen, you can't convince me that pro bending is a good sport, but I would like to know if there's any good fictional sports out there. Hit me with it. I'd like to hear about it. Let me get my mouse in the right place. Am I there? Okay, cool. 40. Book 2, Episode 5. Book 2, reeling off. The Peacekeepers. Is there a lot of like political debate in this?
Peacekeepers is the episode.
I'm gonna get better about saying the ratings for the audio only listeners. Rank 40 is Book 2, Episode 5, Peacekeepers, 7.7, and I will get better about doing that. My bad.
I probably had this lower than you, but
Peacekeepers. Yeah. This is a big disparity, okay. Chris. You had it much lower than me.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious why Leaf in the Wind is lower than Peacekeepers.
What does this one have pro bending in it? I bet it didn't.
So in Peacekeepers, it's like the episode where Korra goes to President Raikou to try and get help, and then she goes behind his back to try to enlist Mako. I'm sorry, not Mako. Iroh the Second to help her out, and that's pretty much like not that much happens. Like, I mean, the end is really cool because there's a fight. The twins, Asuka and Desna, are chasing Korra. There's a really cool fight there. It doesn't really leads to Korra being swallowed up by a dark spirit. But yeah, I would put this lower.
That's crazy. That I don't remember there again. I don't remember exactly why I like it, why I hate it, but it is not surprising at all to me to see that if it had no pro bending, that I liked it more. It's very like me. 39, Book 4, Episode 1. After all these years, man, it's just depressing. It's not that it's a bad episode; it's just depressing.
Why's it depressing?
Right, isn't this the one where you like see her getting the crap beat out of her in the underground fighting ring?
That's Korra alone. That's Korra.
Okay,
alone.
That's the next one. Okay, well then I don't remember what happens in this one.
Wait, that's the next one.
Is that?
No, wait, no, don't tell me. So after all these years, it's like when Korra comes back to Republic City, and her, Mako, and Asami are trying to rescue Prince Wu.
Oh, is that it? Maybe that's
pretty much the plot.
Wait, more of a plot.
No, I don't really.
Okay.
I'm cool with after all these years being that far down because I don't really love.
But listen, it's 7.7. Like we're in a place where we're comfortably rounding up to 8s now. Like you're getting into places where it's like it's basically almost mediocre Avatar. All things considered, so that's a good thing.
Hey, I'm sorry. Wait. After all these years. I was wrong. That's not the episode. Wait.
I don't remember at all.
Oh, I'm tripping. I'm sorry. I was looking at the episode title, not the episode. It's just season 1, episode 4. I know why.
Other way around.
Other way around. Really in it. And it's really just a catch up. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. Just catching up, figuring out where everyone's at right now. Not that much happens. You are in Kavira, and that's a pretty cool scene.
It's funny that these first episodes of seasons, finding those all the way down here, that kind of amuses me.
Yeah.
38 is Book 3, Episode 5. It's The Metal Clan. I don't know why that kind of surprised me to see down here. With a rate of 7.89.
Huh. That's interesting.
It feels low, but maybe it's because it's one of those like when you start binging season 3, it's somewhere right around this ballpark, and then it all just kind of runs together.
Yeah, and it's funny because the Metal Clan. I think what my issue with the Metal Clan is that it feels like a really good part one to a two-parter. Like the Metal Clan and Old Wounds
Oh yeah,
go together really well, and I feel like the Metal Clan is a lot of setup for Old Wounds.
we elected not to rate them together because there was no other indication, like publicly, that they belonged together. But you and I
Yeah,
specifically said, "Hey, it's like weird to separate these," but
we
we
would
did.
like to attest to Mike and Bryan to officially make this a two-parter
And maybe the
called.
two-parter would average out. I don't know. Maybe Old Wounds is down here somewhere. Who knows? You know. I actually don't remember where it is. I couldn't. I looked too fast. I didn't see. 37, Book 3, Episode 4. So now we're getting into some Book 3. In Harm's
Oh
Way.
crap, Shawn.
Chris,
I'm
what are
so
you doing to me right now?
So, one word on probably why it's an 8.025, so great, good episode.
Solid, watchable.
But you probably drug this episode down, Sean. Do you know why? This episode is is when they Zahir breaks out. The Red Lotus breaks out
Is
of
this the
the
construction vehicle episode?
yes the
Yeah.
yeah
This episode can suck it. That's stupid. They don't just get in prison for 20 years and then come out OP. That's crap. That's not how prison works. Chris, we both know people in prison. That's not how it goes.
I don't know people in prison anymore.
Well, I don't know
Yeah,
one's
that's
in
fine.
prison currently.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, but I
That's
probably know
crap,
of at
and
least
you know it.
people.
But actually, the disparity was, I mean, it was big. It was 0.45, but
That yeah,
not,
that's pretty.
but not,
Almost half a whole
not
point.
massive. 0.45
So that means
isn't.
you get.
I
I mean,
gave
almost
it
half a
a
point.
7.8.
What a
You gave it a
7.4? Oh, okay.
8.25.
Oh, okay.
So I mean,
I can't do math for some reason.
it's an above average disparity, but not like an insane one.
Yeah, I mean, to me, this episode's great. It has the fight with Zuko, all this dragon faces police. She's a
I'm always that
possession
way though, man.
vendor.
I don't like seeing villains come out like OP, and that's such like a common animation trope that like I don't know, it sets a really high bar because it's trying to be exciting. It's got like that Marvel like gotta save the whole universe flair to it that I don't need all that in my life. Good villains don't gotta be OP. 36.
Hard to disagree on this one.
It happens. Book
Book
3,
three
episode.
episode. Man, weirdly a lot of book three in here.
Yeah, we're getting like 50% of book 3 in the lower half here. Episode 3 is the Earth Queen at a 8.075.
Huh? Yeah, I mean, so still good rating.
This one, yeah.
So this is one where Korra in Team Avatar frees the Airbenders from the Earth Queen. One
Chris,
thing that stands out to me from this episode is at the end there, where a lot of them are like, "Yeah, we'll follow you, Tenzin," and Tenzin like gets a gleam in his eye of like, "Oh yes, my father's dream is finally gonna be a reality." Um,
it's it's also
yeah,
worth pointing out, Chris, that once you hit 8, so like at episode 37 in Harm's Way, sorry, rank 37 in Harm's Way is a 8.025. After that, we are just there's a slog of 8.0s, 8.1s, 8.2s. Like this is where
Okay.
we start talking about it's relatively better or worse because you have to as the point of the exercise, but like we're
yeah.
splitting a lot of hairs from rank 37 up to I don't know what, I can't see the top of the list. What do you call that? Minimal disparity, minimal. There's probably a financial term for it I can't think of.
ROI.
Minimal. There's a diminishing return on investment. Some garbage like that.
Law of diminishing return? No,
Uh,
that's not. That's something different.
yeah, diminishing. Or I don't know. There's a word for it. We worked in
Economies of
merchandising once.
scale. I know what economies of scale is.
Rank Rank 35 is Book 4, Episode 10. This is Operation Beifong.
Ooh.
That's an
Hey, I love this.
8.09.
How the heck is this? This has some of the best fight scenes in the show. What did I rate it on? Let
Wait,
me see
is
these
this right?
ratings.
Hold on. I thought it would be the other way around, but I think you rated it low. Hold up.
Really? That's interesting.
Okay, just let me double check. Are you on the left or the right? I can't remember. You're on the... Yeah, you rated it low. This was you.
But what did I give the anime? What did I give the audio visual?
Don't make me dig up the individual elements. I'll tell you, you gave it a
Okay, never mind.
7.7, and I gave it an 8.5.
Oh wow. Okay.
Don't make me dig up the elements.
Man.
That's too strong. It's too strong.
I don't know. I need a recount on this one.
I need Chris. It's science. We've done it. Science
That's
never
true.
changes. I'm sure that's a saying that people have. No, this is a good episode. There's no reason to not like this episode.
That's the opposite. People do say the science changes. That's the point of this.
Yeah, no, I'm being facetious, Chris.
Okay.
It's probably a saying in a place where they don't like science. Watch this episode.
Why are you telling me last year that the ozone was? Why did you tell me 20 years ago that the ozone was fine? We'll certainly do more research.
Literal science at its core probably doesn't change. Our understanding of science changes drastically a lot. Rank 34. Book 3, Episode 6. Wow, still hitting the... But notice it's all these, like, early to mid Book 3s, right? We're not getting any end of Book 3s. Old Wounds. Listen, this is probably me. Not depressing. It's just an emotional episode, and I can see why I wouldn't have any use for it. Yeah, we had a pretty big disparity here. This was me.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I love this episode because it just
the reasons that you love it are the reasons I don't.
Yeah, really great character building between Su Yin and Su Yin and Lin Beifong. Really just great family dynamic and character work done there. Love how it ended. It probably doesn't have as much action, and maybe that let it down a little bit for me. But anyway.
I mean, I just don't like this kind of episode. Listen, Chris, I consider it your greatest strength and my greatest weakness that you have the capacity to care about way more characters in way more depth than I do. It's a good episode. It's emotional. 33 is Book 4, Episode 5, Enemy at the Gates. This is completely blank to me for whatever reason, even though it doesn't feel like that long ago. Rate
I'm really proud of myself
8.14.
That I do know these episodes. I was kind of worried I wouldn't know the episode that well by the title.
But now once we got cues, right? Like now your juices are flowing mentally.
Yeah, I was completely off on after all these years. But I think that threw me off because I'm pretty sure one of the characters said to Korra, like, after all these years, they reunited, but that episode's called... No, that episode's not called Reunited. That episode's called Reunited.
So good. I don't remember this, but I'm sure it's a fine episode.
Yeah. Anyway, Enemy at the Gates is when Korra, after the Airbender kids get Korra goes visits Zaofu to try to save Su Yin from Kuvira, and then Korra ends up reluctantly trying to fight Kuvira. She's not able to defeat her. Kuvira beats her, and that's how the episode goes.
Well, that feels like something that I'm a little surprised to see here, but again, we are in the most compact part of the bell curve at this point.
Now that I see there's a really great. Oh wait, I'm sorry. That's Battle for Zaofu. Enemy at the Gates is just like build up for the battle with Zaofu. See, I put these two together because these two should probably go together. Where returns Zaofu to? Yeah. Yeah, so that one, Su Yin tries to take out Kuvira inconvenience of catching her, and then Korra gets there. Anyway, yeah. There's a really funny part. It's either in Enemy of the Gates or the Battle of Zafu that the whole blowing up the train deal. Oh, never mind. It happens in Battle of Zafu. Go ahead. Now I remember now.
You really talked yourself in a full circle.
This is how I talk often
No, that's
to
good.
myself.
This, let everything start to flow together. Chris, this is kind of amusing. Rank 32 is
Yeah.
Book 1, Episode 1. It's called Welcome to Republic City. It is a rate of 8.2.
Yeah,
I wouldn't
I
say
get that.
surprising, just amusing.
Yeah, I mean, it is like there's so much table setting here. It's like there's so much work that this episode has to do that it can't just be a great episode. Like it has to be like, hey, here's the world. After Aang's time, here's everything that's happened. Here's the new Avatar. Here's how she is. Here's a couple of new characters. There's so much stuff to do in that episode.
I think it's completely fair if you think of this less as being like, oh, 32, it's in the bottom half, and again, more that it's like, oh, it's in the middle, it's in the average, it's in that massive bucket. And you say, oh, yeah, the first episode's like right in the middle there somewhere. I'll be like, oh, that makes reasonable sense.
Mhm.
Rank 31, Book 2, Episode 12, Harmonic Convergence. I probably drugged this one down.
I'm sure you did. 'Cause-
No!
uh,
No,
no,
you did. Okay, that's kind
I
of funny. You did.
really.
Yeah, you did. You gave this a 7.675. I gave it an 8.75.
Oh, you know what? You know what? Okay, that makes sense. Because I think a lot of this episode is Boomy taking out that like huge like army, and that part probably annoyed me,
That's fair.
or probably wasn't. Yeah.
Listen, this would be an entirely different episode today if they would accept our rewrites of Korra Book 2. You remember? I don't know if you remember that episode. I don't remember
Yeah.
what we rewrote, but go watch that episode. Rank 30, Book 4, Episode 8, Remembrances. I would consider this a mild
Wait,
surprise.
holy crap! Wait, we have remembrances this high? It must be me that did this.
A little. You gave it an 8.4. I gave it an 8.1. So for you, it was right smack average. For
Okay.
me, it was below average. We tried to be considerate of
Wait,
the
what's the?
situation.
Oh crap! I'm sorry, guys. Like I must be not remember episodes as well. What was like in the lower five again?
Reunion. Are you confusing those two?
Must be reunion. I am. Yes. Yes. That makes
Remembrances.
sense.
It would
No,
surprise
okay,
most
yeah.
people to have remembrances here. We tried to be considerate of circumstance.
Yeah. No, I like things about remembrances. Dang, I feel dumb now because I was saying stuff about reunion. Too many R's and things.
Can I offer a
confusing.
little context and say that like Chris is still sick, and I got like a couple of vaccine shots yesterday, so like this is probably not going to be our cleanest memory episode, but
No.
it is
Very
what it
clean
is.
memory.
It
No
is what it is. No,
mistakes.
remembrances. Most people are going to hate it. I was fine with it. I had it below average. I think it's where it belongs, and Chris generally likes it, and here it is.
I am really surprised at this high.
It feels a little too generous, big picture, but Chris, if you think of like all of the things that one or the other of us weight down really hard, right? And neither of us weighted this one down really hard, so it just got to stick right at average.
Huh. Jeez, what?
Interesting
Okay.
enough.
Yeah.
We need to get back into a rhythm of maybe like in coming weeks we'll look at like your top 5 or your top 10 versus my top 5 or 10, and then your bottom 10 and then my bottom 10. Like we can skip the slog in the middle and we'll just look at our individual ones maybe. That could be interesting. 29, Book 1, Episode 3, The Revelation. Again, kind of a little surprise to us in the middle here, but such is life.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those episodes where we're introduced to Mom and exactly what he can do. So that was really
Moderately
interesting.
terrifying as far as episodes go.
Um, yeah, so that's pretty much what happened.
Yeah. Uh, it's kind of scary as episodes. I dig it. I'm surprised it's quite this low, but there again, middle of the bell curve. 27, Chris, you'll notice we jumped a number. That's because we had our first tie, and I didn't care to distinguish them in any other way. So 27 tie.
It's still interesting that we had a tie because we're so freaking detailed. Like, we're down to like the fourth decimal place.
We are. The likelihood of having a tie in here in this middle lump is unlikely. It's much more likely at the top, probably.
Whereas like all tens.
Because we have cap, right? So, and we run into that cap. But anyway, this is book 4, episode 6, Battle of Zaofu. And we rated it at 8.4. Spoiler alert for the next one.
Battle of Zaofu. Yeah, I like Battle of Zaofu. This was the one that Korra fought Kuvira, as I misspoke as before.
I also, and I won't speak on behalf of you, but I tend to critique stuff a little harder that feels like it necessitates another episode, because it really does. Well, and even like 2-part episodes and stuff, like you're literally doubling the amount of time you get to tell a story when you have a 2-part episode and whatnot. So I always feel like that's worth taking into consideration. This isn't one, but when it necessitates the one right before it, feels like it. That's probably mildly critical there. 27, part 2. Book 4, episode 9, Beyond the Wilds.
Interesting. Both of these are book 4 episodes.
8.4.
So this is one where Korra, the Wilds like take over. Like Janora gets kidnapped, and Korra has to go to Zahir and work through her trauma, which is like, holy crap! It's a great moment of her and her like arch enemy that she built up in her head, who destroyed her, trying to help her. Really think great character stuff there. What brought these out for me probably was that there's not as much action here. So probably the audio visual wasn't a standout. But great episode, great story.
I drug this one down a little bit, nothing crazy, but probably because I was disappointed in like Korra's vigilance. Like, you really think he's not like scheming something, lack of amusement in Korra's lack of vigilance. Better way to word that, but anyway, I didn't drag it down too far. I'm a little surprised to see it this low. Chris, this is our last episode of this week. Rank 26 is book 3, episode 9. It's called The Stakeout. It's at 8.425. Keep in mind, 8.425, I think that's pretty close to our average. I forget what our average was. Found my mouse.
Yeah, I think The Stakeout is probably there because there's, really not.
Yeah, our average was 8.47, so this is real close.
The action picks up like towards the end of the episode. But we would get a whole lot of lore drop with Zahir here. Talking about the Red Lotus and things like that, like talking calmly with Korra. It's interesting because, oh my gosh, these 2 episodes being together is really interesting because both of them have Zahir and Korra just talking.
Yeah.
And it's not as action heavy of an episode. That's really interesting that those 2 episodes are really close to each other.
It is. We were closer on this one. I was still the lower half, but we were at least quite a bit closer. Much smaller differential. Chris, that is our last episode to cover in this episode. So come back next time if you want to talk about 25 through 1. And yeah, I don't know what else to say. That's the bottom half. Again, I would say from 37 onward, there's like a substantial leap into what's pretty much average territory, right? So it's that 38 through 50 is probably the real below average. But I think there's a need to...
What was the worst episode again?
Worst episode was... Oh, I already forgot. Night of 1,000 Stars?
Night of 1,000 Stars. I am fully on board with that being the worst episode.
It was pretty close to my personal worst. I think my personal worst is... You know what? No, we are going to save. We'll do that some other time. We'll do...
Savor that.
Yeah, savor it. Because there's, we're pretty close to each other in that bottom 5, 6-ish. But there's enough difference. We'll get to that some other time. In the meantime, that being said, we're going to get out of here because we got a couple more episodes to record. And we're old and tired. So thanks for watching Avatar: The Last Podcasters. My name's Shawn. That's my friend Chris Ford, a.k.a. The Objective Geek. We'll put all the details in the description. Tell us your thoughts. Like, comment, subscribe, whatever it is you feel like doing.
What are your 5 worst episodes?
What are your 5 worst episodes? Or just tell us which thing you agreed with that we said the most or the least. The things you most violently disagreed with. I would be interested in that. I think it'll probably just be like Remembrances, people, which is fine. I'm not gonna judge that if you didn't. We really tried to not be generous, but we tried to find the strengths in Remembrances.
In the words of Iroh, and we can end this on. Where's Iroh? If you look for the light in the dark, you'll often find it. But if you look for the dark, that is all you'll ever see.
Yeah, and you know what? When there's pro bending involved, I'm okay with looking for the dark. Find me a good fictional sport. Somebody, anybody. You know what? No, that's another conversation another time too. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great week. We'll see you next time with the second half of this episode. Thanks for watching.
Adios. Why do I always say adios?
Vaya con Dios.
Muy bien.
Yes. You nailed it, buddy. Exactly that. Longest 20 seconds of all time.